Pompous Cabinet Maker. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to install these undermount drawer slides by a company called Blum, and these are called Tandem Mount. This one is with the letter H at the end of it. So what the letter H means is the drawer box can be either a 1/2 inch thick or it can be 5/8 inch thick. All right, so in the end product will look like this. And they are slow close. Okay, so here's how you remove the drawer. You open the drawer, you reach your hands here and you go like this with your fingertips. Then you lift up and the drawer will come out. What you're doing is you're grabbing these orange thingies and you're just flexing them, and that's how it unlocks. Okay, so this is how you install these. The back end has a little tab right here, and then this sidewall has a bunch of holes in it, and this gets screwed to the side of the cabinet. Okay, so this cabinet features a 3mm trim around. So the way I determine how deep to set these is I take, I want the front of the drawer fascia to be flush with this. So I take 3mm and I add the thickness of the front of the drawer, which is 19mm, and then I add another 3mm, and that comes up with approximately 25mm. And so I set my little T-square to 25, and that gives me the depth. Okay, here's a basic layout of the drawer parts. You have two sides, and you have a back, and you have a front. The length of the sides is determined by the type of drawer, the length of the drawer side. So I'm using 15-inch, so these are exactly 15 inches long. Okay, so the next is how to determine how wide this is. So the formula for that is you just measure the opening, which in this case is 488mm, and you subtract 41mm. So I just take 488 minus 41, and whatever that turns out to be is how long that is. Okay, so the next thing to do is to put a groove for whatever drawer thickness, the bottom of your drawer thickness is going to be. In this case, I'm using a 6mm walnut veneered MDF. So my groove is exactly, it's just over 6mm wide. I go approximately halfway through the material thickness, and this right here, this thickness has to be 13mm, which is just over 1/2 inch. Okay, here's my joinery setup. It's a Craig jig, and although I am using 1/2 inch thick material, I set this on 5/8, and then instead of setting this on 5/8, because that would not work, I stick this in here, and then I make sure that there's 2mm of space between the bottom of this bit and the floor of the jig. See that? The reason I'm using 5/8 instead of 1/2 inch on 1/2 inch material is because if you set it on a 1/2 inch, the heads of the screws stick out, and then your fascia panel will not fit. So I go a little bit deeper on my hole, but then I go a little bit shallower on the depth of the hole. Okay, so the joinery goes on the front of the front part and the back of the drawer. So you never see them. You never see the holes. And this is the front of this is the fascia panel. This is going to cover it, so it'll be right there. So you'll never see any holes on the side of the drawer. All right, so this is how I assemble the drawer box. Make sure that this clamp is flush at the top. I prefer a parallel clamp. And then use a dead blow hammer to tap everything flush. Use your fingers your fingers are more sensitive than your eyes to alignment. Okay. It's all flush. And then you can kind of scoot this forward. Okay, this is critical. You should be able to get your fingers between the front of the piece of wood and the drill. If you can't do that, then you're at the wrong angle. And if you're way out here, that's the wrong angle. It should be about like that. And your drill has to be on slow, and you have to put the clutch on relatively low so it doesn't drive the screw too far. See how the screw is in there, but it's not sticking out? If I had my setting on 1/2 inch, it would be sticking out. Okay, follow the instructions on how big to make this cutout. In the case of these, it's 13 by 33 for the Blum. Okay, inserting the bottom panel. Stand it up. Let gravity be your friend. All right, then lay it back down and put the clamp on. With these drawers, it's important that this is all still remains flush in the back. Okay, next you flip over the drawer as shown, and I highly recommend that you get one of these Blum drilling guides. It'll make your life a whole lot easier because you got to drill a couple holes. First you stick it there in the corner, and you follow the instructions. The instructions actually tell you here the size of your drill bit and how deep that's 2.5 millimeters. So I start with the 2.5, and I'm just drilling a little bit a pilot hole. I'm not going all the way through. I'm just going about halfway through the material. You just flip it around. Do the other side. All right, so next you'll need a 6 millimeter bit, and it's got this nice little hole that you can stick it in, and then you can put tape around your drill bit, and that tells you when to stop. Okay, so for this operation, the drill bit, the drilling guide goes like this, and it goes all the way that way and all the way that way. So you kind of have to hold it in place. Okay, next you'll need a left and a right standard locking device. It slides in the corner like that, and then you just drill a screw into these pre-drilled holes. Okay, make sure you don't forget to change your drill speed back to slow. Okay, and that's all you need. You need 2 of these guys. You need a notch here, 33 millimeters wide, and you need a hole drilled right there. And this is really hard to drill without that drilling guide. And then these are at the front corners of the drawer. So this is now the front. You just slide it in, and once it snaps, then you're good to go. Okay, the next step is to determine how to install the upper drawer sides. So the way it works is if your drawer box is holding 2 drawers, then the very bottom, this one goes on the bottom here. So the second one has to basically go a couple millimeters above the midpoint between the very top and very bottom of the side panel. So again, we're going to let gravity be our friend, and we're going to rotate the box 90 degrees. Okay, I've got 2 sheets of cardboard here. All right, so I've already figured out the dimension, and what I do is I make I mark where the middle is, and then I make a mark 2 millimeters above that, and then I make a block of wood that will fit between here and here, and I ripped it on my table saw. All right, so here's my spacer. I put my spacer in like that. My door slide. Stick it in like this. And then I use this to make sure it's the right depth front to back. And then I just screw it in using gravity to help. The thing you'll notice is there's no back panel on the cabinet. I do not like back panels because it makes installing, getting the back screw in place really difficult. So what I do is I put the drawer sides in first and then I put the back panel in. So you can actually slide this forward and then it makes access to the hole a lot easier. All right, let's see if they work. It works. Okay, the last step is attaching the drawer fascia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the drawer, I'm going to stick a block back here, and I'm going to drill a hole halfway between these two Craig holes. Okay, the next important step is to make a spacer. I'm using 3 millimeters, and it's really good to have a planer that allows you to plane stuff down to 3 millimeters. If your planer doesn't go all the way to 3 millimeters, you can spray mount this to a bigger board, like a piece of MDF, and then you can get it down to 3 millimeters. And again, I highly recommend getting one of these. This is called a veneers, or also a caliper. This one has millimeters or inches imperial. I prefer to work in millimeters when I'm on a small scale. And please get one where it automatically turns off if you don't use it for a while. Otherwise, you'll come back to the shop and your battery will be dead. So there we go, 3.1 millimeters, 3.0. So just stick that down there. Stick this in there. And then side to side, it should be about the same. So once you got that in place, the easy thing to do is just to remove this front drawer, the top drawer, and then you can put 2 clamps here so this doesn't move while you attach it. You got to be really careful because you don't want, when you clamp it, you don't want this to move. Okay, then you can open it and you can screw it in from the inside. All right. Okay, now you get to the top drawer and you're like, well, how do I open the drawer to screw it in place? In this case, there's 2 options. You can, if you have a 23 gauge pin nailer, you can pin it with the 2 nails, and then you can push, if there's not a back panel, you can push it and open it from the back. That's my preferred way to do it. The other way to do it is with like hot melt glue. You can put a bead, but then that sort of messes with your spacing. You can do double stick tape. The problem with that is it sticks immediately. So if you're pushing it that way and it's like a millimeter this way and then it sticks, you can't really move it a millimeter back. So I don't really like those methods, but they do work. So I'll just do it this way. I'm going to look for a dark streak and stick it right in the dark streak. All right, now I can open the drawer. This is my temporary drawer opener. All right, so there it is.